Okay, so the first thing we're going to need is to make sure you have your work instructions printed out in color is best. Allows you to know how to disassemble and reassemble it in the right order. From there, we're looking at the upper and the lower wraps. This is the initial base wrap, the KK2814 or 114. That goes on first. And then after that goes on, we want to make sure we put on the accordion wrap. And then after the accordion wrap goes on, then we put on these kind of aluminum foil wraps that you can kind of squish on there. And then after that, we put on the base wrap. Then we also got the base piece here. So on the base piece, what needs to be installed on there is you have your trapdoor hinge, rivets that hold the hinge on. You have your two rivets that hold the latch on. Those go in these two holes here. And then you have your two seals, the KK127541. That guy goes along this edge here. And then you have your KK127542. And that guy is going to go along this edge over here. From there, we're going to go over, this is the hood extension piece. So you take the side of the hood off, and then you have to drill these 7-8 holes out and attach them with the rivets. And then after you get this piece riveted on, then we put this KK129564 seal that goes all the way around this edge here. These two seals are also very important. These are what go under the downpipe on the frame rail. Very important that those go in there. A little trick to get those in is maybe once you pull the sticky off the bottom of it, spray it down with a little bit of soapy water. Make sure you clean the frame real well, but soapy water helps that slide on there, get it into place, and then when that water evaporates, then it'll stick in place. From there, we're looking at, this is the backside of the downpipe cover. This one here, you want to make sure that this KK128424, that guy is going to go on the squiggly side, if you will, before it goes on there. And then this side is what presses up against that hood. Put a new clip on it. This piece does need to be replaced, so don't put the old piece back on. So for the outer downpipe cover, you want to make sure that this KK127876, that goes on along the outside seal here. The little KK127878, that guy is going to go here in this little section right there. That's right there. And then this KK129194, that seal, that goes on this edge here. So that's basically all the parts that we have for this kit. Pretty simple install once you know where everything goes. We'll go over where everything is on the machine here in just a second. So here we are. We're going to take a look at, a little more in-depth look at what is actually under all the cladding for the exhaust stack and behind the hood panel, just so we can have a full view of everything that is on this wrap kit. So you can see here the upper and lower band wraps, as well as the lower exhaust wrap there. Real nice and tight. Everything overlaps real good. Something that I didn't mention before is if you look at the wrap here and how it's tucked behind this sensor, that's pretty crucial that we get that tucked behind there. and do not overlap that that wrap over the top of that sensor. Back here, you can see how the wrap looks. You will notice that, so this is an STS-12 machine, and you'll notice that this machine, the gap in between these two, there is supposed to be a gap there. That's a little different between the 16 and 20 machines and the STS-12 machines. That gap will be bigger in between there on the 16 and 20 because the exhaust stack there is a little bit taller on those bigger machines. So that's what this looks like with all the shields and everything removed out of the way. We'll take another look at from the back side here in a second. Okay, on the back side here, kind of looking at how the wrap meets the bottom of the canister there, real good, nice and tight around the bottom, all the way around. If you notice here, there's that foam piece located right under that down pipe. Again, notice how it's all neatly routed and everything. In here, like I show, you see there's a bit of a gap here, but that's okay. The big thing is to make sure that the wrap is nice and tight up against. There's no gaps, or as little gaps as you can possibly get on that wrap to the canister on both the top and the bottom. There's no way to get debris in there. We're mainly trying to cover up those band clamps, so that way we aren't getting any debris, because those clamps can get pretty dang hot. So that's what we're looking at. All right, so what we're going to take a look at here is what's under the front doghouse cover. First things first, that seal that's running across there, and then another one here on the side. Those are those two seals. I'm going to make sure that those guys are on there. Get a little closer. What's going on here on top? First things first, you can see here that accordion wrap. So you have that first base wrap that is under the bottom of the canister that extends out over here to about this point. All right, so that goes on first. And then we have the accordion wrap that goes on. And then we have the two kind of tinfoil wraps that go on there. So you can see tinfoil wrap there, tinfoil wrap there. And then the other thing to note here is look at how well that's overlapped clear up against the canister. That is crucial that we get all of this covered up. So that way, if we get any debris in there, it sheds off and down into the bottom, and then we can drain it out that trap door on the bottom. Yeah, that's it. So another thing we want to look for is, I don't know if we can see it. I can't see it, can we? Let's see if we can show a little light on here. Here we go. So you can see that foam piece right there. We want to make sure that that guy's in there, kind of angled back under, kind of hard to see. There we go. So that, it goes under the down pipe, blocking any debris from getting to the right or anywhere near those two exhaust temp sensors there. All right, from under the engine hood here, we're going to look to the left side there, and you can see the bolt that holds the rear down pipe cover panel on, and also see there the foam piece that blocks off debris. All right, so here we're looking at a model year 22 machine. Key thing that we want to look at on this is you see all of the springs in there. They've been properly installed back on there. You can see how that panel is installed, where The piece drops down, fits tighter. It's not a perfect fit, but it's a lot better than what it was. You can see down below there where that foam piece is. And then the other part here, if you look how nice and tight that wrap is up against the base of the canister.
Again, from the bottom of the machine here, we're looking at the extension piece and how that's installed on the inside of that hood panel, riveted from the front side to the rear. Also notice there that the technician forgot to put in the bolt for the downpipe rear cover, but also notice the how tight the seal is around that downpipe as well.
All right, so let's take a look at the outer cover, or the outer or front downpipe cover. First thing I want to point out here is if you look here, the edge of this cover actually tucks in behind the outer, or that hood panel behind the seal to seal that off. Then you see that shorter seal, and then the longer seal here on this side, and then the short seal. And then another thing to note is look at where your def pipe or that def line is coming out. That's right in that little gap, that the little notch that's on that hood piece right there. So when putting that back together, we want to make sure that we get all those seals and everything in those right places so it's all sealed up. All right, we're going to take a look at the rear downpipe cover. So if you look where we want to see that seal snug real tight there on that, up against that hood, you have the two bolts in the top and the bottom on that to hold it in place. Make sure that those guys are in there and attached to that hood, or attached to that shield. And then there's also a bolt on the inside that we'll show you here shortly, that we want to make sure that that guy's in there so that it helps hold it in place.